my podcast. My name is Pat Veracity, and this podcast is called Living Out Lao because I'm Laotian. So I kind of play with that word Lao for Laotian. So we're Lao people. So I got Ira, right? Did I say that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Ira, thank you so much for coming to the podcast. So yeah, let's just get started. So let's get to the nitty gritty. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am from the great state of Montana. We do not ride horses to school. We do have technology. We have running water. Contrary to popular belief, but everybody's come and found this place. I grew up in an entrepreneurial home. 2008. I mean, we're just going to give you the TLDR. 2008, my dad was a contractor for like 30, 40 years. 2008 really took us out. We had a really nice home that was foreclosed on. We went from having a lot to having nothing. I went from having dinner on the table to having food stamps. And that was a huge wake-up call. Had very humble Christmases for a good 4 or 5 years. And then the whole family dynamic just wasn't very strong. And I had a lot of limiting beliefs about myself in terms of I need to go to college. I need to do the traditional route because I'm scared about failure. And I guess if you go to college, you should not fail, right? I have a college degree. I shouldn't fail. And I never loved school, but I went the college route, and it took me 6 years to get a 4-year degree because I slacked off, didn't care. I didn't really have much passion or drive or purpose in why I was doing it other than this is the traditional route. This is what you're supposed to do. So I graduated in 2020, which was the best time to ever graduate, during COVID, and everybody ceased hiring. Yes. So I have this business finance degree. I didn't even have a graduation, so there was no payoff. There was no walking, because it was all canceled. So we got a graduation in a box. And I just started to really think, why the heck did I get a degree? This doesn't make any sense. I don't have a job. I have $45,000 in student loan debt, and I have no direction in my life.
It's what is taught to us, right? Like what society taught to us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Degree. Yes.
Yeah. So then I have this thing. I have this piece of paper that's supposed to be like I'm more marketable, and nobody was looking at me because I was overqualified for entry-level jobs, but I was underqualified for entry-level jobs, which was just, so I was in this weird medium. I did just have an internship that ended, and we were hoping that it would come to be a opportunity for full-time employment. Didn't work out at that time. Tore my ACL. Just doing something stupid. And COVID happened. So then I was unemployed for about 3 or 4 months, and I gained a lot of weight with my ACL recovery because I had surgery and no idea what I was doing. Then the company reached back to me and said, actually, we are hiring. So I had to go through the interview process all over again, which is 5 phases. Wow. So that was exhausting. Yeah. Got the job, worked my ass off to just get the job. And I learned everything about RIA compliance, not something I was super passionate about, but I got, good at it. And after about 1.5 years, 2 years of doing that, I just started to get really content, and I wasn't growing. There wasn't really much more for me to learn.
What is RIA? Give me just a snip of the job. What were you doing?
Registered investment advisor. Okay. I worked for a company called XY Planning Network, and they actually assist RIAs, registered investment advisors. Yes. My job was to actually register them as pretty much I was helping entrepreneurs start their financial advising firm with all the legalities because it's a very regulated industry. So I did that. Okay. And I just got really bored. And I had this limiting belief that for one, I would never be able to afford a home because in 2020, everything, especially in Bozeman, median house was $450 in early 2020, yes. And now it's about $780. Wow. So it just shot up.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I really believe in what you focus on expands. And what I was focusing on in that little season was a ton of negativity. I was in a job that would not scale because I didn't really want to do my boss's job. I didn't really want to do this other consulting job that is within the business. Yes. So I was kind of stuck at the salary and income that's where I was at. And I didn't see any, and I really pigeonholed myself into a niche that doesn't really apply to a lot of different things in the world.
Yes.
And what I did come from that, because I've done a lot of reflection, is I've learned a lot about systems, because they were a young company. So I got to be part of like their maturing phase, which is messy. So I got to see the messy part and get paid to be able to learn that.
That's the best part.
Yeah, exactly.
As a small business owner myself, that is the best part. But yes.
Yes, I got paid to learn how to do systems and how to be more efficient, and how they handled that with a much bigger organization. They like do like 20 million revenue or something around there. And I got really, I was bored. I was discontent, or I was content and discontent, if that makes sense. I was content just like sitting back, but I was discontent with that. Like I didn't feel good about myself. And
that's because you had that growth mindset, right? You had a seed in you that is there, and it's just one of those comfort, right? Like it's just people get into a comfort stage, and they're stay at that comfort stage. And the majority of people stay in that comfort stage. But you had that seed inside you. You had that thing that says like, all right, what can I do? Something's got to come out. So that's I see that a lot, and that's what you had.
Oh yeah, 100%. And there's one huge part of the story that I did accidentally leave out. There was a saying that I forgot who said it, but there are certain events in your life that completely changes trajectory.
Yes.
And it's usually like a one thing, like it could be a car crash, it could be, somebody dying, it could be something that like completely. And for me, it was my daughter coming into this, like finding out we were pregnant.
Yes.
We found out we were pregnant. We got married 3 months later. Holy crap, we're pregnant. This was not part of the plan. We were going to wait 3 to 5 years. And I started doing all the math, and I started freaking out, being like, how are we going to make this happen? How am I going to provide the life I want for my children that I thought I was going to be able to provide 3 to 5 years from now?
Yes.
And I had the whole path. Like I was going to be a millionaire by 40, but it would have been millions of dollars that I wouldn't be able to access, because it would be in 401ks, Roth IRAs, which I still believe in all that stuff because I was in the financial advising sector. And I still believed in that to a point. I think that's part of a portfolio, but it's not everything. So I would have been a paper millionaire at 40, but I wouldn't have been able to touch anything.
Yes.
And I would have not loved my job. And so my partner, my now business partner at the time, he's a real estate agent, and he was very bullish on the real estate market. He just bought an investment property. I was all like bearish, like being like, oh, the real estate market sucks. Like I'll never be able to do this. Again, I was focusing on the negative.
Yes.
And he invited me into the room one day and was like, dude, like, let's talk about this. Like, so why do you think it's like so bad? And I grew up here. So I have this like outsider, like Montana is kind of one of these states that doesn't really love outsiders. It's come a long way, but you'd see the bumper stickers of just like pretty much don't like Californians.
Yes.
Just to say, people like Montana as a whole, there was a stigma that they didn't like Californians because they'd come here, they'd tourist it up or whatever, not respect it.
Yes.
And again, we've come a long way.
We have a similar thing here in Georgia. So I live in Atlanta. I live in the city. And we have a cabin up in Ellijay, which is the North Georgia mountains. And there's a bumper sticker that says, don't make Ellijay Atlanta. And it's like, keep Ellijay, and don't get the Atlantans. Because it's, the majority of people that go up that have cabins and homes up there are from Atlanta, and then they just kind of commute up there. So it's just, it's the same thing, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah, so yes, for sure. And I was all like pissed off pretty much because I saw my homeland that was taken away from me.
Yes.
Because of like foreclosure, which happened to be the mismanagement. And like, I love my mom and dad.
Yes.
But they did not have the right mindset to really like stock. Like he was a builder. He built spec homes. And again, as you alluded to, is that, or in a past interview that we had, is that 2008 really hurt. Yes. 2008 really hurt. And if you were a contractor, anything in the building real estate space, and you over leveraged yourself. And we had 6 acres. It was worth 800,000 at the peak. And at this point we couldn't even get 400,000 just to sell it, to get it off our hands.
Yes.
In 2008. And so we had to foreclose. And I saw that and I was like, entrepreneurship sucks, like, and also like I had all these like mindsets of, and my dad would always say things like, oh yeah, this stuff happens, like, the government suck, like he's
Yes.
very blue collar, just, kind and so I had all these things going in, and I'm like, wait, so my partner was like telling me, wait, I can own real estate at my age? No way. Oh, I can own a business at my age? No way.
Yes.
And so it took a little bit, but he started putting me into like, or like inviting me into sub two.
Yes.
Again, being part of a community that thinks bigger, that
Yes.
thinks that anything is possible.
That's
And
correct. Yes.
why would you not want to be part of something that is either going for something that you want, which is typically going to be, I want to have a comfortable life. I want to, but comfortable in a way, like I want to bust my butt, but
Yes.
in a way that like I get to live my vacation because I'm loving what I do and I get to build something big.
Exactly. And it's being in the room, right? That's what people like, being in the room. Like I've heard people say that before, and it's like, what do they mean by being in the room? And there's like, okay, I've been in plenty of rooms with people, but I think that, like being in the room where people are like-minded, and being in the room where people are motivated and people that are successful. I think, there's a saying that they say out there, like, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future, right? Like, you've heard that, right?
Yes.
And sometimes, like, when I was younger, I didn't realize that, but now being in the room, in a community, a tribe of people that have the same goals, that are successful, that are, like I grew up poor, and with having kids, I've realized that the kids that go to private school, it's not the fact that they're going to get a better education than kids who don't go to private school, right? So, but the thing is, they're in the room with other kids that are either have successful parents that think differently, that do differently, that do great things, and do cool things. And being in that room will give you more opportunity than not being in that room, you know? And
Absolutely.
and I think that's like so important. And I think it's so minor that we don't think about that. But I think if you see it from the angle of like, what would be the opportunities? How would you think differently if you're in a room with, somebody who is an entrepreneur, who's a millionaire, who is, you may not be best friends, you may not connect, you may not even do business together, but being in that room serves a huge purpose in your mindset, and it changes, because you're there, you're like, hey, this guy sitting next to me, he's no different than me. We've had conversations. How is he doing it, and why is he doing it, and why am I not doing it? Like, what's the difference? Is it a mindset shift? Is it just not knowing how? And I think it's so important just to be in that room with the people. So anyway, so I'll let you continue.
Absolutely. And I was a big sports fan growing up, and thinking about like all the championship teams and how, like, I mean, the 2014 Spurs,
Yes.
they
Exactly.
literally, that team was stacked, and like no one person on that team was the best at, I mean, like Tim Duncan, great,
Yes.
like Tony Parker, all these
I
like,
love that team, by the way.
yeah.
I love that team.
Oh
I
yeah,
watch them.
Manu Ginobili, and just like that team was, it was stacked, but no person on that team was like an MVP. No person
Yes.
on that team was, so they were in a system that literally just bred success. Like everybody in that team, they just fed off each other and they all were great.
Yes.
Versus the 2009 Cavaliers, you have LeBron James and a bunch of scrubs. You have
Yes.
the best player on the planet,
Yes.
and all these people that do not meet the status quo to win a championship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd rather be, and this is something that my partner always says too, and like I've really come to, is like I'd rather have a piece of a watermelon than a whole grape. Like
Yes.
I'd rather be part of something really big and just have a little piece in it
Yes.
versus just having my own little grape. And that's
Yes.
where I've seen, like in sub two, with Pace Morby.
Yes.
I mean, the Alex Hormozy's building a community of people who just want to just crush life,
Yes.
and then being around people who want to do that. And there's always a place to have friends that don't really have the same mindset, like, because in a way, like, you can bring them along with you, but
Yes.
your main, like, and this is where like finding the right spouse, like my wife is amazing, and she's one of the people I hang out the most, and I have to say, like, I want to be like her in a lot of ways, like in
Yes.
just like her strengths. My
Totally
partner,
agree. Yes.
like some of the things that he does, I'm just like, man, I want to be able to do that.
Exactly.
And I'm at 2 right now. So now I'm like starting to like build out like who are the 5 people that I hang around the most. I mean, because we have a 1-year-old daughter. I hang out with my family a lot, which is great, but I need to expand my horizons, and especially as a business owner. And going back to a little bit about my story, I quit my job 6 months ago in April or end of March to start a home services business with my business partner. And on top of that, we bought a duplex a year ago, where he lives in one side, I live in the other. So I went from I never will own anything last March to by September I owned a duplex with him. And then we found out that we had our daughter 2 weeks prior to buying this. So we got married a year prior to that, had a baby, bought a house, and then started a business all in like a year and a half. So
what a year.
Yeah, it has been like whiplash. And I'm starting from, we're bootstrapping it. So we started the LLC. We got all the systems. We're building out systems because we don't have them established. So it's been really good. Like
that's awesome. Congratulations. I mean, that's awesome. That's a huge win, right?
Absolutely.
Do you set up goals? Do you have your goals set up? Like
yes. And I have to grow in that because I've never really done that in my life. So, and I think goal setting is a skill because, they have to be smart. They have to be specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and timely.
Yes.
How do you know how to do that if you haven't done it before? So like I would have a goal and
first off, can I just break it and say, first off, you went through that so fast, like you had that down.
Oh yeah.
So I think, and again, I'm just busting your balls, but I think that's first off, just do step 1, 2, and 3, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, you take a big chunk. You got to take that one chunk and say, you know what? I'll write down 3 things a day. It's something simple.
Absolutely. And that's just the practice and the skill. So I have it up here where I'm like, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't know what is reasonable. Like I'm starting a business and I'm like, I want to make $1 million in this business. Is that reasonable? I mean, I don't know. So I have this lofty goal. I do believe it's attainable, but in what time series? Because we have a friend that is in Bozeman who started a home cleaning business and in 31 months hit $1 million or $100,000 a month. So meaning, if you're hitting $100,000 a month, you're $1 business. And so he hit 100,000 at 31 months from starting from scratch.
Amazing.
So we're trying to beat that, but we're window cleaning right now. We're going to own everything, but is it reasonable that we can do that in 31 months? I think so, but again, I've never done this before. So what do I need to do today to get to that? And that's where I'm like, I don't know what I don't know. I'm just going to keep on doing things until, whatever sticks, I'm going to double down on.
Yes.
Alex Hormozy says, you have to get 100 no's before you get one yes. Like in terms of like, you need to get reps in, like you need to work for the no so that, and it's unreasonable that if you got 100 no's that you wouldn't get one yes in the next 100. Repetition. And it's unreasonable at 5,000 that you wouldn't be able to improve on 1% close rate. You would probably be at like 5% or 10% because you get better. So that's where I'm at, is just.
Okay, very good. So what do you tell me more about your business?
We are home services.
Okay.
The name is Fresh Perspective. We're giving a fresh perspective on whatever. That's why we didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves to be like just window cleaning, but that is our main service right now. Yes. So we're focusing on window cleaning right now. And in Bozeman, the median house is 750,000. So there's a lot of people here that they don't want to clean their house. They don't want to clean their windows. So we're kind of a luxury service.
Okay.
And we're putting ourselves in that arena of being luxury because there's other window cleaners. Like there's like 20 other window cleaners in Bozeman, but most of them are what we call bucket bobs, where they, anybody can go to Lowe's, get with $50, get a squeegee and a pail or like a mop and go make $300. Like it's super low barrier to entry. But a lot of people here, they're sick of just, those bucket bobs. Like, they may support them, be like, oh, thank you so much. It's really great. You're doing your own thing. But their experience isn't that great.
Yes.
So we're coming in and we're just like.
I was a bucket bob, by the way.
Oh, were you?
I was.
Oh, wow. That's
14. 16.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Like, I think that at 16 years old, it's okay to be a bucket Bob, because
yeah,
that's how you start a lawn care business at 16. You have like a couple like family friends. They're like, oh yeah, come mow my lawn.
yeah,
And then you get that rep in, and then you start being like, oh wait, this could be something real.
yes,
And then you could really, and I have a friend who started at 15 doing lawn care, and now he has a really big lawn care business now that we're like 27.
yes,
Um, but yeah, so the 5 years down the line, we're going to have house cleaning. We're going to have pressure washing. We're going to have our window cleaning. We're going to have junk removal. We're going to have lawn care. Like we want, like, because fresh perspective, all of these things are giving you a fresh perspective. Like
yes, yeah,
we're coming in, cleaning your house. Like you might have 4 kids and it's just a mess. We come in, we clean it. You're at work, you come home, you're like, wow, that's amazing.
yeah.
Windows.
Oh,
Nobody knows like how nice clean windows are until you have them.
exactly, exactly. Yes.
Boom. So yeah, so goal is 10 years down. So like to go back to the goals, we have a goal to beat our friend and hit that $1 million mark before 31 months. And we're
Yes.
6 months in. We're a little bit off track, but I think that we focus more on brand first.
Yes.
And then we're working on the money making tasks.
Yes.
So like our product is amazing, but really the money maker is the brand. Like when
Yes.
people look at us, they're like, you're legit. You're not just you seem like a plumber or an electrician where you have like a whole entire business. So
Yes. That's I believe in brand first too. Obviously, you got to balance it, but like I'm, as an entrepreneur myself and starting things, I think nowadays it's completely different, right? Like you don't really do print ads, you don't do stuff, but that social media ad and that website and that brand that you have, do all the social media things that we have now. I think this is the best. For someone who like for myself, who I've done it for a while, I think things have changed and I'm trying to catch up with technology. But I think, you are in the best time in life in terms of where we are now, because there's so much reach. You can reach so far, with the tools that you have, YouTube. I mean, there's so many angles, social media, Facebook, Instagram. And I think that if you can, what I always tell my restaurant partner that I have now, it's like, please focus on the branding. Please focus on, like if you're there all day and you have food coming out, like take pictures of those food, post those food, do it daily, because you never understand, the reach is reaching out to, the web or the internet or anything like that, or just reaching out to people. It goes, man, it does wonders. It does wonders, because I think people would never find out about you unless you put yourself out there, So
and
yeah,
people care about being active. Like when they see like a Facebook post
yes,
posted regularly, people are like,
yes,
oh, they're an active business. They
exactly,
are. Yeah. So then
yeah,
people trust it more.
exactly, exactly. And then people, when they get to know you too, right? Like you as the owner, you as a person. I think the other thing that I realized too is that when they know you, like you, and trust you, they would do business with you.
Oh, yes. And then
Yes,
I would add one more thing on that is top of mind. Is if they know, like, and trust you and you're top of mind,
yes,
it's unreasonable, or Alex Hormozy would say it would be unreasonable not to be rich. If
yes.
you have a lot of people who know, like, trust you and you're on top of their mind.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So constantly putting it out there. All right.
Absolutely.
What else? So that's what you have going on. So what are you what else are you doing in terms of, like, we talked about your goals, talk a little bit about you and your business, which is very, very relatable. It's funny that earlier when we spoke, you kind of heard my story, and it's, things are like it correlates with each other, maybe different time frame, but everything, but it's amazing how uh I think in life that you can relate to anybody and anything, right? There might be slightly different things, but life happens, like shit happens, life happens, and it's very
Absolutely.
relatable. So yeah, so I thought that was pretty amazing that it was kind of similar stories that you heard from me and I'm hearing from you. Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, being a small business owner, and sorry, I had to move. My charger was downstairs and I'm at
Yeah, yeah.
3% if you want to.
No problem.
So, I yeah, no, I saw a lot of similarities, because I mean, with small business ownership, the long-term goal is to own a lot of real estate. And I think in this day and age, just because like real estate has become such a a phenomenon in terms of everybody is finding out about it, and all like they're like all the rich have real estate, so everybody.
But are they like that? I ask myself that too. But are they really? I think sometimes we get in our lens, like like you and I, because we've talked about this. This is all I see, and this is all I hear. But in the terms of like, for us and it's like we see that all day long. But like from my experience lately, I was talking to my wife about this just last night. It's like when we go out there and we talk to our friends and we start talking about our business and real estate investing and the stuff that we do, a lot of them sometimes just shut down. I don't think I think we, it's like we, like if you drive that, that F-150, right? And then you have that particular color, and then you start driving around, you're like, everybody has my color, because everybody has to wait for it. I think maybe, and I don't know, and because all I see and hear and talk about are these things. And I think when I personally, when I step out a little bit, I realize that, well, maybe it's not as many people as I thought, because, this is all I see. This is what feeds into my, what do you call it? My social media, this in my page, because I'm sure this is all they hear and see. And I see it all day long. And sometimes, like just from pure real estate standpoint, I was like, wow, sometimes I think I don't know enough. But when I talk to other people, I was like, wow, I know a lot more than they do.
That's huge. That's huge. And thank you for bringing that. I mean, that's really good, because this kind of exposes a limiting belief I do have about myself, because I was never good at school. And so I always saw everybody else as smarter than me, because they got an A and I got a C, so like, because I didn't really care. And so now I have these things I really care about, but I've carried along that like limiting belief that everything I learn, I kind of fall into, or I've been falling into, oh, I'm just finding out about this. I assume everybody else knows about it, when really, like, I know a lot, but I'm surrounding myself with people who are much smarter than me, like Pace and like just Sub 2, and you have many more years of experience. And I think that's the humility part, but that can fall into just like, I don't know very much. But then I have a conversation like you're saying with somebody who's not in the industry. I even just said something about an HSA, and I thought everybody knew about like a health savings account and how tax advantaged they are. And having a kid, it's amazing that you can just put money away. And I was like talking to someone, they're like, wait, what is that? And they are very smart. They're an engineer, they're in that industry. And I'm like, wait, you don't know about this? And then that's just one instance. And like talking about real estate, like house hacking, they're like, wait, what's house hacking? I'm like, I thought everybody knew about house hacking,
Yes. Yeah, because I sometimes see the same way too, it's like, but it's just one of those things. Sometimes you know what I've learned. I think and I learned this like recently here. I thought there was a point, like I was like you, I was like, okay, everybody's talking about it. Everybody knows about this. Wow, are we late in the game? Are we early in the game? Right? That's like one example. And the other example is like, oh, I've read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read that when I was 16. I read that book. And then I went to a conference, and there was a 70-year-old man. He went on stage, and he was crying and bawling his eyes out, right? And then the presenter looked at him and it's like, I don't remember what he told him, but he was like, you're putting in the work, and putting in the work is what we do daily and consistently. And that is the most important part, and I thought to myself, being in my mid-40s, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm late in the game. Right. So I'm trying to get stuff done. And I was like, wow, can I be where I want to be and set my goals? But seeing this 70-year-old man, he's white hair, he's got a beard, he's all wrinkled, to go on stage and be vulnerable and to be bawling his eyes out, and he's still putting in the work daily, that changed my mindset. I was like, wow, like, stop feeling sorry for myself. Start saying that I'm a little bit late, I'm a little bit older. Like, it doesn't matter, because what I've learned, right? Putting in the work is daily, and working on yourself is daily. And then, you can be, successful. And then you still got to go back and work on yourself and work on those stuff daily. So I think once I realized that was the case, I was like, all right, that's it. So putting in this work is constant and is daily, and you do it until the day you die. And I think once I've kind of changed that mindset, it's completely opened up another realm of possibilities for me. So
heck yeah.
Yes.
And we all have like the black mamba in us, and Again, going back to basketball, Kobe Bryant was my favorite player of all time. Rest in peace. But Alex Hormozi even said this, like, we all have a Mamba in us. And he's like, what Kobe did is he assumed everybody was putting in a certain amount of work.
Yes.
So he put in twice as much work as them. And yes, he may have come in and he didn't have as many skills as the 25-year-old at the age of 18 coming straight from high school.
Yes.
But he put in twice the work. And he says, like, if somebody's more skilled than you, you can't match their effort. You have to double their effort, because if you just match their effort, they're always going to be ahead of you, because they may have more talent or skill.
Yes.
And I'm learning that because life is crazy. Owning a business, having a kid, like, it's like, but how do I still put in the time and effort that is needed to make sure that I am surpassing the people, like the people that are content with just making just enough. Because I'm like, I used to be that. And so now I'm like, wait, there's so much more to be had in this life if you really just bust your butt and put in the time, because it's all compound. Then I'm going to be 40 years old and be like, and have things in life that I'm like, wait, I never thought I could have this.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's so true. Well, what do you have before we leave? What do you have to what do you have to say? What do you have to let us know, or just a reflection on this Zoom? And I want to any last words, anything to go over?
For all your viewers, I would just say start today. Don't if you have something that you've been wanting to do within reason, don't just quit your job if you have never done anything. But definitely, if you have a job, you have 16 hours in a day. You have an 8-hour-a-day job. That means you have another 8 hours every day of awake time, assuming a good, healthy 8 hours of sleep, that you could be building something instead of waiting for tomorrow. Because everybody says, oh, I'll just start tomorrow. Oh, I need to have everything perfect. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know what is good. You need to just do something and find out what is good, what sticks, and don't wait till tomorrow. If you have an idea, go with it. And then once that thing that you really want to do surpasses your income of your main thing, quit your main thing and go all into the thing that you want to do. And I mean, that's really all I have, is just stop sitting on your hands.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I mean, it's so good. Like, I got some great nuggets from this, from this interview and this conversation. I love it. Thank you. I mean, thank you so much for coming out. Let's do it again.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to having you back here, and let's do this again. Thank you so much, Ira.
Absolutely, Pat. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.